А мы будем. А мы даже пойдем к ядру.
The stone bothered him. He hated being told what to do. Wasn't that why he joined the rebellion? Wasn't that why he'd refused to be a soldier? He'd agreed to come on board only if he could freelance. The stone felt a bit clingy. The sage Calaveras had told him where to find the Sky Ripper, a weapon capable of challenging the gods. Even without its armature, the core would still possess great power. He would go there.
Чего, Коля? Ну ладно.
The moment he landed the Farfarer, Renato had a rare feeling of regret. It's not too late, he thought. He could turn around and sail for Zenobia's island. He frowned. Wait a minute. He didn't want to kill Zenobia, did he? Sure, technically she was the enemy, but they'd been at Sword Fu school together. They'd never been lovers, but somehow they'd been closer. She'd told him every secret about herself. Except the biggest one. That she was the Emperor's daughter. No, kill Zenobia, whispered the stone. Before it's too late.
Письмецо. Письмо от папочки. Так, сейчас мы пойдем чуть другим путем.
What else could you hook?
Так, а здесь что? Тупик. Или тупик. Или тупик. Очков нету. Ай, зря он сюда пошел. Драка будет. Надо, я думаю, в игре предупреждение писать, что может вызвать эпилепсию. Комбо-дробилка. Открытое достижение. И да, это по-другому не назовешь.
There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time.
Очень давно сгнившее. Как тупик?
He was practically sure he'd find something useful in one of these things. You almost
Конечно,
never
можно
saw
найти что-то
wild goblins
полезное.
together like this. The toads had to train them not to peck each other to death.
Оу!
So these had to be imperial gobblers.
Больно
And the
ведь.
ravens were up ahead.
Вдруг там кпшечки чуть-чуть есть.
The stone hadn't lied about what it could do for him. With each raven he cut down, he felt a jolt of power flowing into his arm. You're weak, whispered the stone. The core will kill you. Are you afraid of it? No, don't be ridiculous. It chuckled. But it's unstable. It will poison you if so much as carry it. And if you try to use it, it will explode catastrophically. Reynardo did not trust rocks that talked in his head. He went onwards.
Так, здесь надо проскочить. Ничего не скажу про него. Знаю, но не скажу. Запустил пташку. И уровень. И еще энергия за убийство. Ну, так себе. Так, сходили с пользой. Что еще есть? Интересно, вот с какой, кстати, вдруг мое мнение по поводу него стало интересно. Тебе, наверное, все интересно, что связано с танками. Вот что я тебе могу сказать. Мне это мало интересно.
Of course there was a puzzle.
Головоломка, да
You couldn't expect
фигня.
a transcendent emperor to bury a god's eye in a leather sack where anyone could pick it up.
Руби ручку. Все просто. Третьеклассник бы справился. Только они еще ракурс камеры поменяли. А, ручка. А, я понял вас, игра. Оп. И все.
В итоге пидораса пососался.
Come in handy, Midge.
Я думал, ты ушла.
Нет.
Я тут тебя спрашивал, ты молчала. Ну, кай, кай. Зачем меня ударил? Да вообще, головоломка изи. Изи-бризи. А, вот и камушек, здрасте.
As he approached the core, the stone became hysterical. He had a sudden vision of plunging his gauntlet into the core and dying in anguish. That wasn't his vision, was it? The stone had sent him its darkest fears, hadn't it? He had a sudden impulse to do exactly that. He raised his right fist and plunged it into the core. There was a rush of light. He thought he could hear the stone screaming. And then he passed out. When Reynardo came to, the core was gone. But the Iblis stone was no longer black, but glowing with a blue light. And it was silent. I can't hear you, he sang out. And you
Юху!
didn't answer. Ha, he
Юху!
said. He
Да,
had
вот так вот
defeated
мы
the
победили
divine gem
камень.
with the power of his mind. He felt invincible. It was time to attack the Imperial outpost on the Nexus. Take the battle to the enemy. But among the huge crystals, there was also an observatory. A wise man would probably ask the scientists exactly what he had first. How wise was he?
Да чё? Повторим историю.
As the Farfarer sailed towards the Nexus. Bernardo wondered if the core had been created to silence the stone,
Давай.
or even to feed its hunger. Honestly, he didn't care. He felt terrific, and he appreciated the quiet inside his head.
Уж могли бы какую-нибудь головоломочку более-менее придумать, что-нибудь побольше переключателей, что ли. А так прям совсем.
The Nexus was infested with ravens, but that didn't bother Renato. With each death, the converted Iblis stone in his gauntlets glowed brighter, and he felt stronger. Wow. He was getting a bit bloodthirsty, wasn't he? Well, he wasn't worried. He was a warrior. They're supposed to be bloodthirsty. It wasn't his fault. They looked so breakable.
Секундная разборка просто. Ну тут тоже, думаю, суть-то не в загадках, а в экшене во время драки. Что, между прочим, очень хорошо сделали. Мне тут нравятся все вот эти вот комбо, как они выглядят. Контратаки. Приятно смотрится. Так, очков нету. Ну, дальше пока не пойдем. Ну, посмотрим, что у нас тут есть. Значит, сюда. Я думаю, сейчас вот еще вот пару миссий и все будет. Да, кстати, это тоже есть. И игра как бы даже заставляет тебя перепроходить ее, чтобы вот, если ты любишь попадать во все вот эти закрытые места, то прям вот хочешь не хочешь пойдешь. Большой сундук. Скорость атаки. А вот и мы продолжаем. Да, не.
The core, absorbed in the stone, was doing its job perfectly. Bernardo could feel a little eldritch jolt every time he downed a raven, but then it flowed into the glowing stone the way water flows down a riverbed. It all felt perfectly natural, as if all his life, this was what he had been meant to do. With the core absorbed in the stone, Bernardo had enough power to challenge the Imperial fleet. First, he would disrupt the enemy communication lines. Then he would head for the rebel base. From there, the rebellion would launch its final attack.
С 24 концовками игра просто долго к себе приковывает. Так. Добыча это неинтересно. А я уже не могу поставить, стоит же. скорость атаки. Порубим их в капусту. Ой, тихо, назад, сундук. Точнее, ящик. И... Ну цепляй его! И вот
Renato tore to the last remaining guards at the outpost like hot coffee through snow. There was a far speaker toad here. He called the council speaker. He knew she would be thrilled. And she was. She wanted him to come back to base. They had plans to discuss and a medal to give him. A large golden medal. Great, said Renato. Let's talk about who else I can kill. Then the far speaker croaked again.
Hello, Renato.
It said,
If you get sick of slaughtering second-rate birds in the Nexus, I'm waiting for you in the mountains.
Zenobia. She missed him. She loved him. Once she saw how awesome he'd become, maybe she'd
Yeah.
join him.
Чего не отвечаешь?
Big kiss
ну
and-
тебя тихо слышно. Я еще думал,
Well,
показалось сейчас
if she
или
did
нет.
refuse for some reason,
Ты чё, все еще
he was
или
no
играешь?
match for him
Еще
now.
играю.
Ой, все еще. Все уже.
Нас...
Zenobia was taunting him. No doubt she hoped to lure him into a trap. Well, he was nobody's sucker. Especially not hers.
Ой, ой, я что не то выбрал? Вот это то.
He would go where the council pointed him.
А, ну все правильно, куда вызвал его совет. Я уже думал, сейчас все сломал. Досталось немножко, тут еще минут 20, наверное, и все. Хотя я не уверен. Еще же финалочка будет.
As he set foot on the island, Renato felt energized, like when he was
Тут
hunting
еще
or
вроде не
dancing.
были. А, нет,
Then he
были.
smelt it. The stench of ravens.
Опять дома.
It was a good thing he was here too, before they tripped over the secret base. He was really saving the
Great.
council toad's bacon, so to speak.
Прыгай, прыгай. Хоть туда.
Renato had been the terror of the sandcastles when he was 2.
Да, я гроза замков из песка. Драка. И чуть-чуть не успел повернуть.
Not Zenobia, Hypatia, the kid's mother. Renato had never thought he'd date a librarian. He'd always figured himself for the barmaid type. But then, he'd never figured the library of Ubar would have comic books, or that Hypatia would know anything about them. He missed her.
Что еще за эмпатия? Ой. А ну все, можно ничего не смотреть даже, еще надолго. Там Седой тебя уже спать отправил.
You shall not pass!
Не верьте, я устала, чтобы я это говорила.
Нам просто плохо слышно было.
Renato had an artifact that made him practically a godlike warrior. All he had to do now was collect his medal, head for the Imperial fleet, and raise some hell.
Чую, накидает мне сейчас имперский флот. Меня сами убьют. Жабы же там все. Жабы те еще крысы. Ну, как-то так. Давай сюда. Мне нравятся сундуки. Вау.
See? Renato was a hero of the revolution. He deserved a medal. Soon he deserved every medal they had, and hopefully one big medal ceremony in front of everyone with trumpets, so everyone could know what he
Медаль
accomplished.
служил, конечно. Если такую медаль дадут.
He felt like Tarzan.
Он чувствовал себя Тарзаном. Что падает? Там падают два таких персика. Один восстанавливает хп, другой энергию. В принципе, иногда полезно поймать. Иногда бывает все-таки руда с них
Portal
падает.
made him a little nervous, like a slide whose other end you couldn't see.
Фаталити. Нету ничего там. Птичка, лети. Сейчас буду бить медленно, должно что выпасть. Покажу. Вот такой вот цветочек, фрукт. 10 энергии. Вот. Да там махом оно появляется и пропадает что-то. Совсем. Так, ну пойдем туда, слетаем. Раз он тут разговор затеял сам с собой, что ему сейчас медаль дадут, такую золотую
Getting
медаль.
a horse up in one of these things, he will be cursing a blue streak.
Эй, ну... Ой, я вот это не читал. Гордыня. Ой, что страшное. Эй, отстань. Надо рубить. Да, что это? Да что? Ладно. Если не мечом, так лицом разобьем.
With all this ore, Renato could forge a really great sword. He was a master forger.
О, еще 100 надо. Ой, до 100
Wasn't the
догонять.
right word.
Ну, давайте, с кем драться? Что-то раскидал совсем по паску. Библиотека. Ла-ла-ла-ла. Что это шалову вспомнил. Максимкину. Ух ты.
These things really slice like ham.
О, тихо, тихо. Чуть не убили.
The long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
Да я... А, ну это там, типа, охранные дроны, сторожи, не знаю, как обозвать. Они сильно, короче, дамажат. Стоит только спалиться тебе. Оп. Кто там? Нет. А. Секундочку. Товарищи совет. Ой, у меня как раз меч даже нужно в руке.
I wonder what happens if I go that way.
Давай, давай, пойдем. Эх, эх, так. Оп, еще энергии собрал.
Inside the rebel base, Renato was invited to the council speaker's private chambers. So, this is the Iblis stone? He said. I can feel its power. Renato told her how he had fed the core to the stone and made something even more useful than either. Crazy like a fox, she croaked. And Renato chuckled as if he'd never heard the joke before. We've given you the best quarters and a bottle of Tantalonian firewater. All for you. So they'd remembered. He woke in the morning with the sweetest of hangovers. But the Iblis stone was gone from his gauntlet. The corridors were empty, except for a few rebels who looked just as hungover as him. Come on, you'll miss the battle, they yelled. Renato added sail as the Farfarer scudded across the sky. Who could have taken the Iblis stone? Was it some Imperial spy? He would find him, and kill him, and take the stone back.
Вот же крысы эти жабы. Угнали камень. Негодяйки. Полина, почему не спишь? Ты там время уже 5 утра.
Renato had a bad taste in his mouth.
Я слышу там колесико мышки.
It wasn't fun. It felt like a chore. Oh, Renato hated chores. As a fox kid, he'd gone hungry rather than clean his room. He still didn't clean his room, he just moved house every few years. Who had the Iblis stone anyway? Up ahead, You could hear screaming and croaking and cawing. But who was winning?
Угу. Да, не сложно догадаться, кто побеждает. Так, вот здесь мы еще ни разу не ходили. Кажется. Не мог я вроде ходить.
The road less traveled.
Да, нехоженная тропа, все правильно сказал. Нет, стоп, были мы тут. Я еще гадал, как отсюда выбраться. Лети лепесток.
Hoped his hook didn't break.
Север на восток. А дальше что-то я не помню. Хотя почему север на восток? Когда...
As he ran forward, Renato noticed that some ravens were starting to ignore
Просто
him.
убегали.
Just running away. Who were they running from? Some hero of the revolution? If some other so-called hero of the revolution had the stone and tried to take his victory and his medals, Renato was gonna be seriously pissed off.
Да вообще.
He was the hero, not some other bozo.
Да, я герой, а камень меня угнали. Давай, цепляйся. Еще разок. И еще. И не все линяют, однако. Чуть-чуть осталось, прям чуть до финалочка, прям.
Platforms were great. Renato wanted one for his house.
Воу, больно. Уровень. Правда, зачем, непонятно. Мне сейчас даже не попадется ни одной апалки уровня. Немножко уже напрягает однообразие уровней. Как вот это вот. Особенно вот в этой карте. Ну, что поделаешь. Ну, думаю, за 24 прохождения это прям сильно надоест.
Mustache, thought Renato.
Ну, давайте. Кто тут? Какая еще магия? Интересно, это что за достижение? Надо будет потом сидеть, почитать в стиме. Что и как оно дается.
Finally, Renato came to the Emperor's ship.
Курама в
Zenobia
сияющем
lay
камне.
dead in front of it. The ship was a wreck. Ravens lay dead, sprawled everywhere. Bloody feathers
Они ее
spattered
убили.
across the deck and the dock.
Сволочи.
The council speaker came out.
Нет, ну
She
за
was
что-то.
waving a sword around like a flag. Look at me, Renato! She croaked. The Iblis stone on the sword was black as coal. Now I will be Empress, and all shall tremble before me, she croaked. So the stone had her. It was in her brain, whining for blood. I'm afraid I can't allow that, said Renato, and moved to fight her. Toads are not usually good with swords. Something about the footwork. And the council speaker was not even a warrior. She was always tripping over things, which is quite an impressive achievement when you're a toad. Yet somehow, she was pressing Renato backwards as he desperately tried to keep her sword away from his throat. Look, why don't you keep the stone? He asked. You deserve it. Blood and souls for Iblis, she croaked. Blood and souls. She got under his guard with her sword. It was just the tip. But sometimes just the tip is enough. He could feel his soul being sucked into the stone. As he died, he felt embarrassed more than anything else. Oh, damn it. He lost again, and died. But there was burning Ubar behind him. He still had all his destinies ahead of him. But he'd learned another true thing. The Iblis stone was evil. It would try to corrupt anyone who used it.
Подожди, так. Истина открыта 4. Нежданчик. Я-то думал, что... Ну ладно, продолжим. Истины все собраны.
There must be a way to puzzle the pieces together. If he used everything he knew, he could discover a new path to destiny. The book's pages fluttered to the beginning once again, faster than before, and he fell. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Renato knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden
Илья,
there.
ты тут еще?
It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster.
Ну сейчас заканчиваешь.
He could find a way to use it. To take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course,
Значок ключа
Renato
какой-то.
had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion. And he had a gut feeling that he needed to use that to his advantage.
Вот пошли и подсказочки, наверное, в форме ключа. Что ж, а это мы уже узнаем на следующем стриме про эту игру. А всем, кто сегодня здесь был, спасибо, что вы были, что писали, смотрели, комментировали. А теперь вы можете подписаться под все остальные ресурсы внизу. Там есть еще и канал Полины, где можете найти и ее ресурсы. В общем, все на сегодня, ребята. 4-часовой стрим подошел к концу. Спасибо, что были. И пока вам всем.
Пока-пока.